Hi, Bill. It's Eric Carr.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
All right, that's great.
What's going on?
Not too much. You know, I really appreciate that you're calling and
okay.
for the interview and everything like that.
My pleasure.
And it's just pretty cool talking with you.
That's cool. I don't mind, man. I'm enjoying it.
All right, that's good. That's good. Okay, the first, I wrote down a whole bunch of questions, and there's going to be a lot of them that are like in different order. I'm probably going to ask you a lot of stuff about the album and then other stuff, and then probably go back to the album.
Mm-hmm.
First off, for Klassics, we're going to be having a Kissmas issue coming up.
Okay.
And you, Bruce, and Paul all wrote in Merry Kissmas letters.
Right.
The only one who hasn't is Gene.
Okay.
Okay, if you could possibly talk with Gene and ask him if he could possibly send us one.
You're probably just better off going to the office.
Okay.
You know, because he's real busy, and I don't even know where he is right now, and I don't want to bug him.
Okay.
Just go to the office and tell him just what you told me. You know that you got 3 of us and you want to get the 4th. He'll do it.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
All right.
I figured you would have a little more pull in the office.
Nah. Not necessarily. Nah. Just call the office. They'll get it through to him.
Okay. Paul and Gene are on MTV now doing that Hard 30, and I know that it's more than likely it's already been taped, and they're just showing the segments.
Oh, when it's on now?
Well, no, not at this moment, but it has been on from Monday, and tomorrow's going to be the last day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay, were you on it?
No, I didn't even know that they were doing it.
Oh, okay. All right, because I was going to say, where the hell is Eric? Because
really.
Because you guys were all at Z100.
Right.
Except Bruce, but what was mainly that reason? Because Bruce just happened to get married?
No, well, because the Z100 thing, all this. See, what happened is that Paul and Gene have been doing this press tour around the country, and it just so happens that when they came to New York, I was here, so they thought that since I was here, they might as well bring me in on it, which I was glad about. If Bruce was here, he would have been there too. That's the only reason.
Okay, so Bruce was out in Los Angeles?
Bruce is out in Los Angeles, yeah, he's home. Yeah.
Okay, all right, so, no, it's just great because, I mean, the fans were all there, and Gilda and Polygram, they all sent out the flyers saying to, get as many people as you can.
I know, it was great. You guys are great.
Yeah, it was, I was the one with the big giant banner.
That you kept asking me to sign it?
Yeah, after you guys walked in and when you were coming out, I was by the window and I was knocking on the window. Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, I know.
Going bananas, going crazy. I mean, I always do. What is it? So it's basically a promo tour, and it's basically Paul and Gene doing it, right?
Well, they were doing most of it. The way we wanted to do it at first, it changed so many times. We were going to do it in Europe, and it was going to be the whole band, and that got blown off. And we weren't going to do it unless it was the whole band. Then when the States thing came up, it just seemed okay to do it with Gene and Paul. So they were cruising around the States doing that stuff. And when they got here to New York to do some stuff here, since I was here, they said, come on and join us in on it. So I was glad. So that's why Z100 and PLJ. I mean, I wasn't even supposed to be there. It was a big surprise to the DJs and everyone else that I was there. But I was glad.
Were there a lot of fans at PLJ? Because as far as I know, not too many people knew about that.
No, because there were only a couple. I don't know how they found out, but there were a couple there. But the Z100 thing was great. It made up for it.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? I got down there around 5 o'clock. I got down there, and everybody just hanging out and going bananas. And finally, when you guys showed up, I mean, it was like pandemonium.
I know, it was great.
Everybody.
I needed that. I haven't had that in a while.
And I'll tell you, what is it? Well, we all knew that Paul and Gene were going to be there. There was rumors going around that you were going to be there and hang out in the crowd, hang out in the audience.
Really?
Yeah, that was the rumor that was going around. Then there was also a rumor that Bruce was also going to be there, and that you guys were going to be like out on the line and pick it with us.
Oh, really?
And I thought that would have been real cool. And then when the limos came, everybody just like surrounded the limos, and it was so crowded. Yeah. And all of a sudden, you seen Paul, you seen Gene, and nobody really saw you because you're very small.
I'm small, yeah.
all you see is this big hair.
I know.
This big head of hair. And then all of a sudden, my friend came running over to me and he goes, "Eric's here." I'm like, "Where?" And he goes, "He's right around the pole."
Down.
And he's right around the pole, and nobody really knows that he's here. So I was like, "Holy shit!" So I ran over there and started going bananas. And, because everybody started flipping out when Paul and Gene got out.
I know. No, it was cool. I mean, for a minute or two, I felt a little weird because but it's like people knew I was there. They didn't know what I was doing standing on the side. You know, because everybody was like gathering around Gene and Paul, and I was just kind of standing there. Nobody was bothering me, but you know, so it was fine. Once everybody found out that it was there, it was great. Because I figured, you know, I knew that nobody would really know that I was going to be there, because it was just kind of like the last minute that they added me in there.
Well, there were rumors going around that you were and Bruce, you know, but at least it was 3/4 of the band. It would have been cool if the full band was there. I mean, that would have been great. And that's one thing, you know, that probably gets you down also. I mean, you've been a member of Kiss for 10 years. And it's basically still Paul and Gene.
Well, I mean, the original guys, you know, and that's okay. That's something that I you know, I can understand, and the rewards and just, you know, everything that I get a chance to do with this band and just being in the band, you know, it's a small price to pay for what I'm doing.
Because I mean, Bruce has been there for over 5 years. Right. And you've been there for almost 10, coming up on 10 real soon. Yeah. And, you know, even at the concerts, I mean, they usually have, like with the Crazy Night shows, they had posters of Paul and Gene. I mean, where's the posters of you and Bruce? I know. You know, I mean, I would love to that, you know, because, I mean, when Kiss was with Ace and Peter, they had posters of all four. Now it's only Paul and Gene, and, you know, everybody wants to find other stuff instead of Paul and Gene.
Of course, I understand. You know, well, you know, we may do it on this tour. You know,
that would be good.
There's been some talk about it.
That's good. I mean, when you came out with the Ludwig poster, that was good.
Oh, that's a great poster, man. That fucking poster is the most requested poster. They have Ludwig has like 30 different posters, and that's by far the most requested. And I don't know how many they've given away and how many they've sold, but I'm really flattered that everybody wants one.
I think 5 to me, because I got about 5 of them.
Really? Yeah. It's a great poster. I mean, I'm actually really proud of it. I set up that whole photo shot and everything. I set the whole thing up. It was all my doing, and it came out great. You know, I'm really glad about it.
Do you know if Bruce is having one for possibly a guitar ad or anything like that?
You know, it's not up to him. It's just up to the company that he endorses if they wanted to do something like that. I don't know if they're going to do it or not.
Okay.
Possibly.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Okay. How did it feel making the new album? Did it feel different than making possibly? Well, I'll stay away from the makeup stuff for now. With The Elder and also Creatures of the Night. Did it feel different than Lick It Up?
It's hard to say, you know, because I kind of forget things, you know. It was definitely different because we approached it this time. We tried to keep everything really low key, you know, and really kind of back to basics, including the studio that we did the recording in, which was like a jingle studio. The guy had his equipment up until, I don't know, a couple of months before we went in there. His equipment was all in his living room. He used to work in his house, and Gene used to go there and do demos with him. And then he got this studio and he put his stuff in there. So it was like being in somebody's basement, you know, like a friend of yours that has a little recording studio in his basement, and you go down there and you play. And that was a great approach because it was really good for everybody's head and for what we were trying to accomplish, you know, just kind of rocking out, not worrying about dressing up all the time, not worrying about who's in the next studio recording, that you have to make sure you look good at all times because they might come out and you might have to say hello, and not having to bullshit people and, you know, and smile and do all that stuff and get distracted. And so that was different. And as far as the recording, you know, was concerned, it was pretty, I don't know, for me it was pretty much the same. You know, I go in and do my stuff first, and then I just stick around and I watch everything else being built on it. But it was different in this respect that, you know, this album, as far as the material was concerned, it's very, very different than what we've been doing the last few albums. And I was really glad about that, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Well, with the new album, I mean, all the songs are really good. I mean, you're singing on it, and in fact, you're singing. The first time I heard it, and when you go 10 Million Stories in the City, I swear I thought it was Gene singing.
I know. I've been hearing this all over the place. It's driving me nuts. He had nothing to do with it. If I sounded like him, it's just because, you know, I've been singing with him so long that we all kind of rubbed off on each other. But I didn't hear that at all. But you're not the first person that said that to me.
Yeah, because it's like you have, or at least in that first line, it's like you have a more higher, more melodic voice than Gene does.
Weird. I don't know. I just open my mouth and sing the part, and if it sounds good, I leave it. You know? I don't know, but all the rest of that song. I mean, certainly Gene was the inspiration, or at least, you know, he told me to keep working on that song because he liked it when he heard the original demo that I let him hear. It was just the music track and a couple of ideas for melody lines. But he was the one that said, no, we should go in and we should cut this and keep working on it because I think it's really good. So he kind of like was pushing me all along to keep working on that song, even though I had come to the band with a couple of other things that were complete. A ballad that was a real killer ballad, but Forever was so much better that there was really no contest.
Yeah, because I was going to say, you only co-wrote one song on this, and I heard that there were some other songs that you co-wrote, and also that Bruce co-wrote with Gene.
Yeah.
But naturally, some of them do have to get dropped.
Yeah, you have to. Everybody has to. I mean, it happens even with Paul, and it happens with Gene. There's a couple of songs that Paul, co-wrote on the album that we were going to do, and then they wound up not being there. There was so much material for this one, and you always have to. It always boils down to trying to pick the best stuff. You have to, and in that particular case, it goes for everybody. If a song doesn't measure up to the rest of the album, or if it doesn't feel right for the album, it doesn't go.
What are some of your favorite songs off the album?
Oh, there's so many. I lose them. I like King of Hearts a lot. I like Prisoner of Love a lot. I like Little Caesar, obviously.
Yeah, I knew you were going to throw that one in. That one is good. That one's very good.
I like it. I mean, it's one. If it wasn't me singing and I had nothing to do with it, I would still think it's one of the best songs on the album. I just think it's a real cool feel and everything. A lot of aggression, a lot of energy, especially towards the end. I really like the way it builds up. But anyway, You Love Me to Hate You, I really like a lot. I said King of Hearts. What's the other one? Rise to It.
Yeah.
Forever, I think, is great. There's a lot of. They're real pretty basic, straight-ahead things, but there's just something about some of those songs that really, I think is kind of cool.
I know a lot of the material is very strong, and a lot of it has been, like you said, kind of like in a different direction than like Crazy Nights or even Asylum, and possibly even Animalize.
Yeah, it's just Animalize was just us being, angry and trying to be, have attitude. I mean, it's not like we put it on, we fake it. We do what we feel at the time, and that's what we were feeling, not necessarily worrying about how good or how bad the songs are,
Possibly because, it was like, all right, you came into Kiss during the Unmasked period.
Right.
Yeah, in the Unmasked period, because you also did the tour over in Europe.
Right.
And basically at that time, people kind of like said, Kiss, they're going down the tubes.
Right.
And I thought that was a bunch of crap. I mean, there's been so many fans, and I'm sure that you know it, who have stuck with you through thick and thin, and then the other fans that were like, God, they're nothing. And then it was like you took the makeup off, and all of a sudden a brand new, not like a new band, but a new resurgence of fans came in, and then it was like you did lick it up, and maybe it was that thing of getting like all the new fans and all of the older fans kind of back, and then you did the Animalized tour and album, and like you just said, making it angrier, saying we told you all the time.
No, I tell you, the thing about Animalize, that was a real good time for me. I mean, when we did Creatures, that was a highlight for me as far as recording is concerned.
The drum sound on that is great,
yeah,
and
thanks.
To tell you, on Smashes, I'm not really too crazy about with especially I Love It Loud.
Oh, the remix.
I mean, oh man, it just takes it down so much.
Well, you know what happened? I mean, that was all done while we were in Europe doing the Monsters of Rock shows. I mean, that was being mixed, so it was almost impossible to get it to be, perfect. And I know what you're saying, because I did hear some of that, and certainly the sound doesn't stack up to the way it is on the original album. But it doesn't matter, I mean, it's a minor thing, it really is. But the album itself, the Creatures album, really had an attitude to it. It was like us saying, hey, okay, you think the band is dead? Well, fuck you, listen to this,
Yeah, exactly.
And so that was really a real unity there, and that really shows in that album. That's my favorite. But as far as a very, very strong feeling within the band was around the Animalized time when we did the album and the tour. Because that tour, for me, that was probably the best tour for me, because I thought we were killing during that tour. Bruce's first tour with us. I thought we kicked ass on that tour. I thought the stage was great. I thought we were all playing great. The attitude that we had, the feeling that we had, we went out to kill, and it was a great tour.
That's one thing that I want to ask you about, like with the tours and with the staging and so. All right, Lick It Up. Well, okay, naturally Unmasked was a totally different stage and everything like that. Even though that the fans around here seen Kiss during Dynasty, it was the same not show, but the same stage. Then Creatures came out with the tank stage.
Right.
Lick It Up was also the tank stage.
Yeah.
Animalize was a different stage.
Yeah, that was a great stage. I love that.
And then ever since Animalize, the stage has basically stayed the same.
Yeah.
With the ramps in the back and all of that stuff.
Well, this new one, the new stage, is going to be more like the old Kiss stages. It's not going to look like the old Kiss shows, but it's going to be big, a lot of effects, a lot of stuff happening. You know, it's going to remind you of the kind of shows that Kiss has always been known for.
Mm-hmm.
Over the top, you know, all hell's breaking loose kind of stuff, you know. So it's going to be great. And probably the reason that we just didn't change that much is that, you know, you kind of run out of ideas after a while,
mm-hmm.
you know, as to what you want to do. In one particular vein of doing it, you know, you got to break with it after a while and try something totally new. So hopefully, from what I've seen and from what we're trying to do, this new stage is going to be, you know, it's going to be unlike anything else that anybody ever did.
Good.
But it's certainly going to seem like a real Kiss show, the kind of Kiss show that, you know, people have always expected from the band.
Okay, that's cool because I mean, you know, not to get you like uptight or anything like that,
Yeah.
but people have been saying that the show and the songs
Mm-hmm.
have mainly been the same thing over and over for the past 2-3
We know
tours.
that. Yeah, I know that. Of course.
Yeah.
We talk about that stuff all the time.
Yeah, I mean, people are saying that, you know, like Motley Crue or whoever, Iron Maiden going out there, and you know, it's like their shows are killing the Kiss shows, and I'm saying, yeah, but you know, all right, maybe Crew goes out there and does, you know, something bananas or whatever,
Right.
you know, but I mean, you still gotta, you know, go to all of the Kiss shows, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the Kiss show is like the thing. I mean, if you're a fan, you're gonna go,
Right.
you know.
Right. Well, you know, the problem, one problem that we have that Crew doesn't have and that Iron Maiden doesn't have, when you have 24 albums, it's real hard to pick songs that are going to make everybody happy.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not bullshit, you know, this is really the truth. It's like real hard for us. We you know, we work really hard each time coming up with a set list that seems right. We change songs as we're doing the shows, you know, we're rehearsing. We change songs as we're doing the tour,
Mm-hmm.
you know, as things work or don't work. But when you have so many songs, it's like, what do you pick? You know, okay, Black Diamond has been in the show, or no, let's say Detroit has been in the show forever,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Okay, great. So everyone may say, boy, it's been there so long, you know, it's the same thing all the time. Here comes Detroit. But if you take it away,
You're gonna make a lot of people
you're gonna,
uptight.
yeah, people are going to say,
Yeah.
gee, what about fucking Detroit? How can you be Kiss? How can you do a Kiss show without Detroit?
Mhm.
So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You know, what are you supposed to do? So what we're going to try and do this time is to really, really revamp the set and try a lot of new stuff that the band hasn't done in a long, long time.
That would be good because I
And
mean,
we'll be out longer on stage too.
That's good. That's good. You know, I mean, an hour and a half is basically the time set that you guys put out. You know, between 85 and 90 minutes, because
Right.
I collect a lot of live tapes of yous.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like listening to live tapes, and I've heard you guys play like in the beginning of the Crazy Nights tour. I'll fight hell. No, I don't think.
Yeah.
Hell or High Water.
Yeah.
And see, it's great for me to hear that because possibly when you come around here, you might not be doing that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in fact what happened.
We even
You
tried
dropped.
when the walls come down too. We tried that.
Yeah, I have tapes of that also.
Really?
Yeah, and it's really cool to hear those songs live in concert.
Right.
And then, but then it's weird to see you and you're not doing that.
Right.
And I'm like, well, wait a minute, I heard it on the tape, and
Uh-huh.
you know.
Well, like I said, you know, as I said, we change them. You know, you want to obviously when we have an album coming out, we want to do a lot of stuff from the new album.
Mhm.
But if the situation just seems that, you know, we play that the kids might know, let's say, Hide Your Heart, but they might not necessarily know King of Hearts.
Mhm.
You know, so but we want to do it because we think it's a great song and it's on the new album. But then it doesn't go over well, so you kind of got to get rid of it.
Mhm.
You know, even though you want to make people listen to the newer stuff. So that happens with any song. You know, if we try one of the old Kiss things and it doesn't work, you know, that'll go too.
Mhm.
You know, it's whatever's going to make the show the best. It doesn't matter who wrote what song and how when it came out and makeup or no makeup or you know, whatever. Who wants to sing or who doesn't want to sing or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. If it's not making the show better, it goes.
I noticed for a period of time that during the Lick It Up and also the Animalized tour, you were singing Young and Wasted.
Yeah.
And then it kind of got dropped, or else Gene started singing Young and Wasted.
No. He started. He never. I don't think he ever sang it live. He just, you know, we wanted to do it for that tour because it was on the album. And during rehearsals, Gene, I think, didn't want to do it or couldn't do it because there were too many songs in a row with him singing, and he just didn't think he'd be able to do it. So he asked me to sing it, and I said, fine, great, I'll have 2 leads now. So, but once we did it through all the tours, and then once it was dropped, it was dropped. Gene never sang it again.
Okay.
No, he never sang. Gene never sang that song live.
Okay.
He might actually, though, to be honest with you, he might have sang it one night, maybe when like my voice was gone or something like that. That's a possibility. I'm almost kind of like remembering that might have happened. But if it did happen, that was like only one time.
Okay. What songs do you think will you guys be playing in concert off the live album? And can you give us a hint of any of the other stuff that might possibly be incorporated into the new tour?
I don't really know at this point. I don't know what which of the new songs are going to be on, from the new album. Certainly, Hide Your Heart's going to be there. I would think maybe Forever. Who knows? Rise to It. Maybe Read My Body. Hopefully, Little Caesar. I would like Little Caesar to be there as my lead. So if we decide not to do Black Diamond,
throw that one in at least, that you can get one song of singing.
Yeah. I would still actually like to, to have Black Diamond back in there, because that's one of the Kiss Klassics songs. But we'll see. As far as the older stuff, the older Kiss stuff, not knowing exactly what Gene and Paul are striving for, I don't really know what they would pick. That would be more up to them.
Okay.
To pick the older stuff because they know better what they think would work with the crowd than I do.
Okay. The tour starts when?
Right now, I don't have an exact date, but right now it looks like it's going to start in February in the States.
Okay. Are you going over to Europe first?
No, we were going to, but now it's going to start in the States instead.
Okay.
In February.
All right. And will you be hitting Australia or Japan?
Anything is possible. Japan, I would say probably, almost 100% yes. Europe, we'll do after America. Australia, I don't know.
Okay. Was the album originally going to be titled Crime and Punishment? And if so, why did it change?
There was a million titles. I have a list of about 150 titles that I came up with alone, We couldn't come up with anything. It's that simple. We're trying to figure out. We had an idea for the album cover about what we wanted it to look like, and then we were trying to find a title to work with that, and we just couldn't come up with it. And Crimes and Punishment, for a while, seemed to be the only thing that worked. I never liked it, actually, personally. I don't think anybody was really crazy about it, but it just seemed to be the only one that made any sense. And the reason it changed is just because when we started doing photos and we decided to change the attitude of the whole thing, and we started thinking about, I think Paul came up with the term hot in the shade, and we started thinking about this idea that we had been tossing around about, about doing something like that with the sunglasses and all that, and it just seemed to make sense.
Who originally came up with that idea, and how did it originally,
I don't know who exactly came up with that, but it's something that we have talked about. Either someone had thought of it, or someone had, suggested maybe doing something like that. I don't even recall. All I know is that it just appeared, and it seemed to be the right thing, so it was cool, and it works perfectly with Hot in the Shade,
On the promo poster,
yeah,
everybody's looking forward, basically, except you. You're looking over to the right-hand side.
Right.
Is there any reason for that, or you just happened to turn your head and the shot came out nice?
I was shy. I wasn't looking. It's because I was just, I was looking off to the side. I don't know. I think I was talking to somebody when that
picture was shot?
The picture was shot, and I think I was saying, like, what are you, fucking crazy or something like that? I don't know what I was saying, but it looks good. I think it's great because, you see too many pictures
where everybody's looking right into the camera.
Yeah, everybody's posing, and stuff like that. And I always think it's great when you see a photo in a magazine, of a band where they just look like they're totally caught off guard, or that they didn't give a shit when the picture was being taken, And that's cool, because we don't always stand, next to each other facing in the same direction, We move around, so it's good to see shots like that.
Okay. Boomerang on the album. Was that a leftover song from Asylum or Crazy Nights? Because we also heard a lot of songs like Dial L for Love, and then I think Gene was possibly saying that there was never a song called that or anything.
What, Dial L for Love?
Yeah.
Oh, sure there was.
There was?
Yeah, there was. I brought him a music track that he liked a lot, and me and Gene and Adam Mitchell, who co-wrote the lyrics for Little Caesar. worked on that, and it was a completed song, and we actually cut a demo for it.
But it never made it.
No, it was okay. What happened is that Gene started to speed it up a bit, because it just seemed too slow. But that wasn't the problem with it. The thing just changed. It went through so many changes that it lost whatever it had originally that was special. But the music track is still great. The music track is kind of like a real slow pumping kind of Van Halen song. Not like Running with the Devil. I wouldn't compare it to that. But just, it's a really good music track. And if I can just find the right vocal over it, it'll make a great song.
Possibly for an upcoming Kiss album, or
for anything. A great song is a great song. If it's for us, great. If it's for somebody else, great too.
Okay, that's fine. And so was...
Boomerang, I don't know if that was a leftover, to be honest. Bruce may have had that around. I don't recall, if he had it. But as far as I know, him and Gene just pulled that together for this album.
Okay. Before I forget, I want to thank you for mentioning Kiss Klassics in the new album.
You're very welcome.
Thanks a lot for that.
You're very welcome.
That surprised me when I started reading it, and also I was like, oh my God, look at this. In fact, Ed Trunk, because I went down to Megaforce,
right.
And I was talking with Ed, and Ed was the one who showed me. He said, you're thanked on a new Kiss album? Mm-hmm. I'm like, no. And he said, yeah, look. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was Ed on the phone just now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell him I said hi.
Well, I can't now. He hung up.
Yeah.
I will.
Okay.
Yeah. It's our pleasure to do that. I have to thank you guys, because without you guys, what you do with with your fanzine and just being fans and keeping up with us and having faith in us, that's why we're still here. So it's the least we could do to thank you guys for sticking with the band.
Well, I've been a Kiss fan since 74, 75, and
wow.
Still my number one band. I'm going to be getting married next year,
wow.
And I'm looking forward to buying a house or someplace that at least has a few rooms for my Kiss rooms.
Oh, cool.
Because everything's going to be all done up in Kiss rooms.
Wow, that'll be great.
I'm hoping to get it all set up real nice. I got basically everything all stored away right now.
By when your kids, grow up, they're going to go, Daddy, who are these weird people on the
And I'm going to say, here's the album, listen to it.
And lock the kid in there for a week or two in the room, throw food in there, and let them learn all about Kiss, and they don't come out until they know everything.
Yep.
There you go.
What was Eric Carr's, I heard you on the WDHA interview, and somebody called up asking, what was your makeup? And you said a spider. And I could not stop laughing.
Did I really?
Yeah, I thought that was the funniest thing. Because I bust out laughing.
Oh my God! I don't remember even saying that. I got kind of tipsy. I was drinking tequila during that thing. Actually, Ed called me because I'm going to do it again next Friday.
Oh, really?
I want to make a note of that. Yeah, I don't think there should be a problem, but I want to do it again next Friday.
Okay, and what date is that?
I don't know what day it is, but
that would be what, the 17th, I guess.
I guess.
Okay.
No, it can't be the 17th already, will it?
Well, this Friday is the 10th.
Oh, then it would be. Oh, then there's a possibility I might not be there. Oh shit, because we have videos to do.
Oh.
I'll have to tell him that.
Okay, all right, because I was going to try popping on down there then.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't realize until just this second when you said the 17th that we were supposed to be doing some videos on the 18th in Los Angeles. So chances are I won't be here. All right. Anyway, go ahead.
No, well, I just want to say, when you came out with the spider, because I remember that. Reading and also hearing a lot of interviews with you that you said that they tried to make you like a hawk.
A hawk. That was the character that they had thought about having me be.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody really knew what the fuck they were doing. It was really pretty comical at that point, because nobody ever expected to have to replace one of the guys,
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, now what do we do? Who's this new guy going to be? And the only thing that they had come up with when I joined, when they said you're in, they said this is the idea that we've had, for you to be a hawk, a bird of prey, and we tried our best to make the thing work, but the chicken outfit just didn't make it, man.
Yeah. In fact, I remember at your first show at the Palladium in New York, and also you on People magazine on the cover.
Right.
Your makeup was totally different,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden it got changed. Why was that? Because the makeup was very detailing.
Yeah. Well, it was. Basically what happened is that after the first show at the Palladium, I talked to Bill. We had a really nice celebration dinner that night, the band and Bill Coyne and all the people, and we were just talking, and he mentioned to me that among two things. First of all, a lot of the makeup was coming off because I was sweating so much, and I still wasn't used to putting it on. And what happens with the Kiss makeup or any kind of makeup like that, is that the more you put on, the worse it is. You have to put on very little, because when you start putting on a lot, it gets like to be a crust, and when you sweat, it'll start to peel off and flake off. So you have to put very little so that you can sweat through it. You follow? All right, so it was coming off, and that wasn't good. But what he said is that because it was all black, you really couldn't see what it was from the audience.
Okay.
You couldn't really make out what it was. So what I did is that, I got rid of the border that was around it, and I put the white line up the center, and I just made it smaller. I just kind of streamlined the whole thing. I kind of made it look like the Audi Fox. If you ever saw the car, the Audi.
Okay.
The Fox, they used to have a little emblem in the back of the car which looked real similar to the way my makeup wound up being. It wasn't where I got it from, but it just happened to be that that's the way it looked. And, and it looked a lot better that way. Having the white up the nose and everything, it just looked a lot more consistent with Gene, Paul, and Ace's makeup.
Yeah, because I have some shots of you from the first Palladium show, and you are sweating a lot, and the makeup is like kind of runny looking.
Yeah, it's just not there. It's almost like I don't have makeup on at all, because you can still see my face. There's no character there. It's almost the same as if I didn't have any makeup on at all. You're seeing all my face, my features, and everything, and you're not really getting any kind of sense of the Fox face. But as soon as I tightened it up and put the white up the center, that made a big difference. It changed the whole thing, and it looked cool.
Is anything new going on with Rockhead cartoons or the characters?
No, unfortunately, no. I'm working on them all the time, writing material for it all the time. I had a couple of deals that looked really, really close. One just recently that I thought was going to actually happen, and then that fell through. But it's something that I'm going to keep pushing on. It's a great idea. It hasn't been, something like this hasn't been done in a long time. Certainly not exactly the way I want to do it. And all I can say is that when it comes out, everyone will know, and when you see it, you'll know right away it's mine.
And what will it do? Would it be, right now, would it be a cartoon, or would it be like a comic strip in the newspaper?
No, it was going to be a cartoon. I wanted it to be an animated, either a Saturday morning show or a special, or something of that nature. But depending on how things go with it, it may start out as a toy first. And go the other way around. I just don't know. Whatever seems to be the way that it's going to go is the way I'm going to go with it.
That'll be good, because that'll be like one of the hot items to get every Kiss fan to start going crazy for that.
Yeah, I hope so. And hopefully, that'll attract a lot of people. They're really cool little characters. They look great. They're real rock and roll, but they're real cute. And and the music already that I've gotten written and recorded for it that I wrote, Bruce helped me with, and we had Adam again working on it. It's really cool music. It's rock, but it's not heavy. It's kind of light, and it's perfect for them. And I've got a lot more tunes for them that I haven't finished yet, and I want to get other people involved in it.
I heard that on Little Caesar that you and Bruce basically did everything on the song, and you also play bass on it.
Yeah. What happened with that track is that when Gene heard my demo, I let him hear it with the other things that I brought to the band, and I figured let him hear this just as a joke, because I didn't think it was right for us, and he loved it right away. He said we should go. He was already cutting demos at Fortress, where we wound up doing the album. He said you should go in and cut this. So I taught Bruce the parts. We went in, we cut it, he played the guitar and I played the drums. Once we got the drums down, he added some guitars over it, I put the bass on it, and we left that, I put on some scratch vocal, but there was really nothing vocally on it for a long time. And it kind of was like hovering around the band for like 2 months, always there. We kept working on it, to try and get it to be a complete song, because Gene kept saying, this is really good, you should keep working on it, and I did. But what happened is that once we listened to the demo with lyrics over it, the demo was so good there was no point in redoing it. So that's the demo. It's a 24-track, recording, but that is the demo. We never went back in and recorded it again because it sounded too good the way it was. As a matter of fact, the same is true with Boomerang.
Why you and Bruce basically did everything on that?
Well,
besides the singing, naturally.
It's not so much that, but it's just the fact that it's the demo.
Really?
The demo that we went in to cut is what's on the album.
You liked it so much that you didn't want to screw around with it.
Yeah, we tried re-recording it, and it just, what happened is that we went in to do the demo, and it was real spontaneous. A lot of the fills that I do, a lot of the stuff that Bruce wound up playing, it didn't make any sense to try and top it, because it was just too good the way it was, so we left it.
Yeah. And what's the story with I Still Love You, that you played bass on that?
I did.
Oh, well, I know that, but...
That's the story.
Why was that? What was going on with Gene at that time, or whatever?
Gene was having, like a little bit of a problem getting the right feel. And that's not to say that it was his bass playing. Some of the things that I played were not, maybe spot on beat. They weren't, they weren't wrong. They just felt different than the way he was feeling it. And when you're in the studio, little tiny little subtle things like that can really, really fuck you up. You just can't get it because you're feeling. You can sit there and play the same part 50 times, and you'll play it exactly the same way every time, no matter how much you try to change it. So, he just couldn't feel certain things that I was playing with his playing. So it was easier for me because I had played the drums. I was feeling the beats in the same place. And that's why we did it. But we do stuff like that all the time. That's one great thing about this band is that we all take turns playing on the other instruments. Thank God nobody else on the drums yet. No.
Who knows? Gene might be playing the drums next time.
No, I doubt it. I doubt it. But when there's suggestions to be made or if somebody's having a problem, somebody will certainly step in and try to either help them do it or if it sounds better with them playing, they'll do it.
Yeah, that's interesting because everybody just thinks, okay, Eric's the drummer, Bruce is the lead guitar, Paul's rhythm, and Gene's bass, and that's it.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That's interesting. You and Paul jumped on stage at the China Club in New York, and Ace and Frank Bello and also Ed Trunk were there.
I know.
Yeah, so could you tell us about that?
Paul, told me that he was thinking of jamming. He asked me if I wanted to do it, and we just figured out like what songs we wanted to do, and we went through them a little bit. Like in the dressing room and stuff like that, and just fucked around with him a bit, and until we had him, it was pretty loose and spontaneous thing, and then we went up and played.
Who'd you play with?
A couple of the guys from Soraya.
Okay.
And who else was up there? And Bobby Held, who is the co-writer of Read My Body and a couple of other things on this album, I think. He was up there playing bass, and Paul, was singing lead vocal and guitar.
Yeah, because one of my friends happened to be at the show. He heard it off of a guy who knows Ace, and he heard that that there was going to be a possibility of all you guys jumping on down there. So he went there, and he told me all the songs that you played and what songs Paul sang on and everything like that.
Yeah, we all on You Shook Me All Night Long. We were all singing on that. Actually, I sang one of the verses in Honky Tonk Women. I don't think anybody knows that because they couldn't see me, but but I did. I sang the second verse.
They said that you were playing this little tiny dinky drum set, maybe like 3-4 drums in it because
it was a double bass. Well, let me tell you, it was small. It's bigger than the kit that they usually have there. They usually have a single kit, regular 5-piece kit. But I had brought in a double bass kit just to make it more comfortable for me, So even though it looks dinky, it wasn't dinky. It was a double bass drum set. You probably just couldn't see it.
Probably not.
Yeah.
And he said that it was a regular crowd for the China Club, but like nobody knew that you guys were going to be there.
I don't know if that's entirely true.
Okay.
These things have a way of getting around. But
well, I found out about it 2 days too late.
Yeah, but it was okay. It was a lot of fun. I think I may even do some of that again tomorrow night.
Oh yeah?
Well, not with Paul, but they called me just a little while ago to see if I wanted to maybe jam a little tomorrow night with a couple of the guys, and I said fine. I don't know if I'm actually going to do it or not, but I said fine.
And where's this going to be, at the China Club? Huh. Yeah. Oh wow, tomorrow night I'm shooting a concert. I'm shooting Testament.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go see him Saturday at the Ritz.
Oh wow, I'm going to be going up to the Chance tomorrow night in Poughkeepsie.
For what?
To shoot Testament.
Oh, I see. You're following them, huh?
Yeah, well, I also photograph bands for magazines, and so does Brian Rademacher.
Right.
We both go around shooting a lot of bands and trying to get them into magazines, and the Chance is a real good place to shoot.
I know, it's a great club. Where do you shoot from, the balcony?
No, not from the balcony. You know how to stay. Well, you know how it's the stage and then the floor.
Right.
And if you go back from the floor, there's like a railing and a little stairs that go up.
Yeah.
Shoot right from there, from that railing, because everybody goes bananas and starts thrashing and moshing.
Yeah, you don't want to be in that.
Yeah, especially not with a camera.
No, I know, you don't want your camera to go flying up in the air.
Yeah, so that's why I just stand right at the railing and get some real nice shots there.
Cool.
But you also got a credit on Ace's album, huh?
Oh, I didn't even know that. What did he give me credit for?
He gave you a thank you.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that was really nice of him. I didn't really know that he did that.
Oh, no?
Actually, well, I have his cassette. I should look at it and read the thank yous.
Yeah.
Well, I got together with him to write.
Mm-hmm.
For he wanted to come up with another Breakout. Because Breakout was like one of the favorite songs of his fans. And he came over twice, and what I basically did is I got the riff from Breakout, and I kind of, threw it into the blender and twisted it around and came out with something that sounded a lot like it, but was different. But it's actually, I think, cooler in a lot of ways. And we worked on it. We put together a whole structure of a song, no real vocals. I just did a scratch vocal on it, and we left it at that. And then Ace really never came back to work on it anymore because he just felt that from letting his his people listen to it, it sounded too much like Breakout. And it maybe was not at that point as good as some of the stuff that they were already planning on using. So that happens. I mean, I didn't mind that at all.
Was there a title or a working title on that song or anything?
What do you think about it? Well, yeah, actually there was. It was called Rock Your Mind. That was Ace's idea.
Well, that would have been good if that one was on it.
Yeah.
Because we also, we were hearing a lot of stuff that Ace was going to be co-writing with you. Ace was also going to be co-writing with Gene.
He did.
But that song never made it on there either. So, it's at least nice to know that everybody is still basically in touch and keeps in touch and, everybody hangs out or whatever, just sees each other.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I mean, there's really no uncomfortable stuff going on. It's pretty friendly and everybody still, likes each other enough to certainly want to work with them, to certainly be friends, so that's cool.
Even Peter Criss?
Huh?
Even Peter?
Well, Peter I can't speak for, I shouldn't say everybody. Peter I can't speak for because I don't know, I never see him.
Yeah.
I never see him, and I don't know what he's doing, and Gene and Paul, I don't know if they ever speak to him, but I certainly don't.
Yeah.
Not that I don't want to, but, it doesn't happen.
No, but that's cool that at least everybody, still basically gets along with each other, not that, hey, I hate you and, you're a jerk, and, things like that. Let me see. If you could jump on stage with any band and play drums for, like, one song, like special guest appearance at a concert, Eric Carr, what band would it be?
Boy.
And I think I know the answer to this one, but...
Led Zeppelin?
Yeah.
Nah.
Okay.
No, not really. No, I wouldn't even presume to get up there and play with them.
Okay.
There's no way I would even try to do, what am I going to do? Get up there and try to be Bonham? What am I, nuts? Forget it. I wouldn't even try. I mean, see, you were wrong.
Okay, I was wrong.
Just off the top of my head right now, I can name several bands, probably AC/DC.
Okay.
Like if we did You Shook Me All Night Long or For Those About to Rock or something, because I love those fucking songs, or maybe Van Halen.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love, because I'm really big Van Halen fan. Pre-Sammy, with Dave and with Sammy. I mean, I think it's great both ways, and I just like the band. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's still the same band. It's the same three guys playing music. And I think they're fucking unbelievable.
No, that's interesting because, like I said, I really thought that it would possibly be Zeppelin.
Nah. I could say, AC/DC. That would be a lot of fun for me. And Van Halen, and maybe even like Bon Jovi or something like that, but I don't know. Don't print that, okay? Don't print Bon Jovi. Honestly, don't.
I mean, no, I won't. That's another goof on, like the Spider.
Yeah, right. Don't print that, all right?
No, I ain't gonna put that one.
Okay. Yeah, but definitely the other two.
That's cool. That's good. Those are two real good choices.
Yeah, I think so.
Let me see. The Kiss Exposed, too. Is that going to be coming out soon?
I heard Gene talking about it the other day. Yeah, everything is always up in the air and it's always subject to change, but it could conceivably be, we could start working on it maybe even by the earliest this summer.
Good.
I don't know when it'll be out, but I think Gene said something to that effect.
Well, that'll be the summer of '90, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And hopefully you and Bruce will have a little bit bigger parts in this one.
Well, only if the monkey doesn't show up.
Yeah.
Because if the monkey shows up, I'm going to the beach, man. I don't want to be in a video when it's a nice day out. Come on, what's wrong with you?
What will be the next single off the album?
I don't know. I think it might be Forever or it might be Rise to It. I don't know which of those songs we're doing.
Okay.
But we're supposed to do 2 videos. It might be both of those. But believe it or not, at this point, I don't know which songs we're doing.
And what's going to be the videos?
Oh, you mean like the concept and stuff?
Well, yeah, the videos that you're going to be shooting next week.
Actually, I don't know too much about either one of them, but there is something that's going to be kind of really neat in one of them. You know, that I think everybody's going to get a kick out of it. I don't really know what it's going to be, but you know, we're planning something that's kind of neat.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's good, but you're not too sure about the songs, or
No,
the songs?
I'm not really sure about the songs. I think it might be Rise to It and Forever.
Okay, all right.
I think Rise to It is definite, but I'm not sure about the other one.
I'll tell you, Read My Body, I like that song a lot, but it seems like a weird song to start. It's almost like a rap song to begin with, but the way how, I really like the way how, with the last word and syllable, how you guys shout it out.
Right.
And I think that's what gives it, you know, like that extra edge to the song. You know, I like that one a lot. And that would be cool if you guys did like a video or something like that for, you know, Read My Body.
We'll see. You know, it depends on how everything goes.
Did it feel weird playing on the top of the Wilshire building for the Hide Your Heart video?
Nah, it was kind of cool.
That's the first time you ever did that, though, huh?
Yeah, that was fun, actually. It was great.
Or at least that's what anybody saw. I mean, you guys might have did that, you know, and start throwing TV sets off the top of the building or whatever.
No. We were up there, you know, all day, and it was great. It was really weird because I was walking around like an old street bum coat, one of those big woolen coats that everybody wears here in New York City, all day long up on the roof, and it was like 99 degrees up there, and I'm walking around with this big coat on because I was trying to drop some last-minute weight, you know, sweat it out and get rid of it, you know. So I had a good time just fooling around all day and watching them filming the story people, you know, the girl and the guy and the bad guy that climbs up the wall and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You realize that he was on those steps climbing over that ledge with nothing underneath him.
So if he accidentally
like
slipped...
15 stories up, 16,
wow,
something like that, 20 stories up. I don't recall how high the hotel is, but yeah, he was just on a like a fire escape ladder that just went straight down to whatever was down there. I don't know what was down there, but there was no net or anything under him at all. And he was up there for a long time. Each time they had to redo the shot, he'd have to climb back down and hang there until they started it again. I don't envy those guys those jobs, man.
No.
But, you know what was really cool about doing this stuff on the roof is that this helicopter that kept shooting these things, you know, he's zooming all over the place. I mean, you look out as you're playing and you see this bright light coming at you from, you know, maybe 2,000 feet away, coming straight at you, and then when it gets big enough that you can see the helicopter, you realize that they're coming at you sideways.
Oh, really?
Not straight at you, sideways with the door open, because the guy with the camera is like sitting, you know, hanging out the door on the side.
That's got to be a little more scarier, I think, than actually climbing up the building.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and it's scary to watch it because the fucking helicopter's coming right at you sideways, and you're saying, oh, great, if this guy loses control, that's it, you know?
Yeah, you're waiting for the light just to go down on top of you or something.
Really, but it was great, you know, and I think the video is really, really cool. I'm really, really happy with it.
That's good. You've been a member of KISS now for almost 10 years.
Has it been that long?
I was just about to say that. Does it seem that long?
No. It really doesn't, you know, because it's so much time, so many things have happened. It kind of like, I don't know, I look at, you know, pictures of me in the makeup. I just went through my stuff the other day, and I found this big photo album that we got from the promoter in Australia when we did the Australian tour in 1980.
Yeah.
You know, they had a photographer following us around through the whole 6 weeks, and they each gave us one of these. And I look at us, and it's like a million years ago.
Yeah, you guys look like...
We look younger, obviously. But, no, I know you didn't want to say it. No,
yeah,
I mean, we look
it
younger.
Almost came out.
Nah, but I tell you, in a lot of ways, we don't look that much different. It's very odd. It's very, you know, sometimes you see, wow, you look a lot younger. Sometimes you don't look that different. But what was just strange is just looking at us in Australia and thinking about how I just joined the band and seeing the makeup and seeing Ace there in the makeup and seeing the Dynasty stage, you know, and all that stuff. It's very, very strange.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, because we just happened to get, well, Brian, I know talked to you before, and he said that he had those, like the solo album, not picture discs, but plaques from Australia.
With the like the raised kind of plastic.
Yeah.
Yes,
I just happened to get a set of those off of him, and I have you, Ace, and Paul, and I'm waiting for the Gene.
And it's the picture. It's my solo album photo.
Yeah, and it's great. I mean,
I told you. I don't know if I told you. I think I told him that I have the original painting.
Yeah, that was in the interview,
Yeah,
and we
great.
printed that. So that must be really good. Hanging up on your wall, or?
Well, I have it. It's in a closet right now because I'm still working on my apartment. But it is going to go up on a wall. It's all framed and it's mounted. It looks beautiful.
That's nice.
All that's missing is the Kiss logo and my name on there. And then it would be exactly like
like the solo album.
Exactly, because it was the same artist that did it.
But on the plaques, it does say Kiss, and it's got your autograph on
the
bottom.
Yeah, they put that stuff on there. When he told me that, I was like blown away. I couldn't imagine how anybody could have gotten a hold of that picture.
Exactly. I mean, he said that you were kind of flipped out after that because he said that you really didn't believe that anybody at all had that. But I guess in Australia, because we collect so much Kiss stuff, and Brian does have a lot of friends in Australia, and we're getting so much stuff from certain people in Australia that is official merchandise to coin and Kiss items that we never even knew were out. And I mean, like you just saying about with the photographer guy.
Yeah.
And we've seen newspapers that had you on front covers. I mean, I don't happen to have any. I would love to get some.
No, those I know about. Because when we were there in Australia, there was something about us on the front page of every newspaper every day.
That would be great. I would love to have those newspapers, or at least those clippings.
I don't have all of it. I have a lot of it. I mean, we were on the cover of the TV Guide. It's like we were like kings of the country. It was unbelievable. Gene's boots, he sent them out. Not even his stage boots, his regular boots that he wears just to walk around. He needed to put a heel on them or something. And there was, big, gigantic photograph of the shoemaker holding Gene's boots on the front of the newspaper. I mean, that's how big it was there. Hopefully something like that could happen again, but I don't think something like that would ever happen again anywhere. And I'm just grateful that I was part of it.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, I know that
a one-time thing. It doesn't happen again.
I was going to say. I know that you're very fortunate, and I mean that you have all the fans now, but do you kind of miss the way how it was back then, compared to like the way how it is now?
No, I don't really. I mean, because I think it was great then. When we decided to take the makeup off, it really was, kind of unanimous. We all kind of knew that it was time to do it because it just wasn't as exciting and as fresh anymore. But I do miss that kind of hysteria.
Yeah.
But that's okay because the other night at Z100.
Yeah.
And when we're on tour again, it'll be the same thing. The only reason I'm saying I miss it right now is because we've been off the road for a while.
In fact, this is a while that you have been off the road.
It's only a year, believe it or not. It's only a year since we finished the Monsters of Rock stuff.
Oh, okay. That's basically because you haven't really played in the U.S. besides the Ritz dates.
Right.
That's basically it.
Right.
So in the U.S., you really haven't been around in 2 years.
Is it that long?
Almost that. Well,
when did we finish the States tour? We probably finished the States tour in like February or March of last year.
March of 88.
88. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically about a year and a half, and then you did the.
True.
Yeah. So
true.
by the time that you do come back around and start touring, it is going to be about 2 years.
That's true. I didn't think of that. You're absolutely right.
The Ritz shows were real good. I mean, oh man, and I got kind of worried because for the first Ritz show, I was there at 3 in the afternoon. I hung out all day. I got there front row, hung out until like, for Dirty Looks. They finally went off. All psyched to see you guys. Around 1 in the morning, you guys come on, and all the pushing and crap like that. And I only made it through for Love Gun. For Deuce. Just when you guys started going in Love Gun, I had to get out of the front row because I was really going to get sick or pass out.
I know. It was murder that night. Believe me. Those 2 nights, I forget. I was talking to somebody about this just the other day that was there that night when we went back to the dressing room after the show. I mean, we literally sat there for an hour. We were exhausted. It was so fucking hot.
Yeah.
I've never ever felt anything like that. It was horrendous.
I'll tell you, I was a little scared because I noticed that Gene especially almost had to be helped off the stage after the first show because it was like he couldn't walk. He couldn't walk off the stage. It was almost like they had to help him.
I have to tell him this. It's funny.
That's what it looked like to me.
No, it's probably true.
Yeah.
It's probably true.
I mean, it was so hot.
We were all in pretty bad shape that night. It was horrendous, man. I've never felt heat like that. And after the second song, I mean, After the second song, I'm drenched already. I know there's something wrong.
Yeah.
You know, if I surprised I didn't take my pants off, too, you know, because I stripped down to nothing. I mean, it was just too hot.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I moved out of the front row, went to the bar, got a couple of beers, and you know, doused my head with water. Then I went back and made my way up to about fifth row, and it was fine. No pushing, nobody really going, you know, I mean, killing each other up in the front. Forget about it.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I stayed during the concerts for you guys up in the front all the time. That was the only time that I had to get out of there.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But, you know, it's surprising that everybody seemed to really think that we were good those 2 nights, because we thought, apart from the fact that we were really, really dying up there, you know, we just thought that we weren't playing well because of the heat. But apparently it was okay. You know, I certainly don't think the band would even think that, you know, those were like fantastic performances.
I think maybe because it was in such a small setting and nobody really ever thought about it.
That it was just kind of great anyway.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, we were having a difficult time up there because it was just too hot. You know, it was really, really too hot. And then we had to do it the next night, which made it even more fun.
Yeah, and from what I remember, the first night the sound was good. The second night the sound kept breaking up.
Really?
Yeah, from what I remember.
No, I didn't even know that. I didn't know that. But, you know, the whole thing, it was so great. I mean, we really wanted to do that, you know, for the fans. And it was just a special thing. It really was a great thing. It's unfortunate that it was so hot, but you know, it was really cool. You know, it was just a lot of fun to be able to do that, to actually go and play the whole band as a club band. You know, which was really, really great. I mean, the whole idea of doing that, I think, was a great idea, and we're glad that we did it. But unfortunately, it was just like so hot.
Do you think you'll ever do it again?
Yeah.
That's cool. Under Kiss or under possibly a different name?
Anything's possible. It all depends, you know, if we get the bug to do it, you know, we'll decide that at that time.
That's good. I know that you admire Charlie from Anthrax.
Yeah.
How'd you get along with him and during the Crazy Nights tour? And also, are you going to be doing anything possibly with him? You know, like, I don't know, maybe make a special...
Yeah, we're going fishing. We're going fishing.
Next week.
Yeah.
In Minnesota.
In Minnesota, that's it. We're fishing for spiders.
Yeah.
Spiders.
And chickens.
And chickens,
Hawks.
Yeah. No, Charlie was great. You know, I used to have a lot of fun with him. You know, I mean, all the Anthrax guys were great. They were a lot of fun. You know, they're really nice little guys. They're funny. You know, they're cool. I love watching them when they were playing. I love their music. And with Charlie, you know, I remember, well, actually, I'm Charlie's twin brother. You know, but
Eric Benante.
But we were separated at birth. And you didn't get the Anthrax video, did you?
No.
That live thing that they did, whatever, you know, with a lot of backstage stuff.
No.
Because they asked me to film a piece for them, and they told me that it was hysterical. I don't know if it's out in the States. I know it was out in Europe.
Are you in that video?
Yeah. Well, unless they changed it, but I was in it. Yeah.
Well, if you're in it, then I guess I will pick it up now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in it, and there's a scene where I'm in there, and me and Charlie are talking, and I didn't tell anybody what I was going to say, you know, but I pulled this bullshit out of my hat that I just felt was right, and I said that Charlie and I were like twin brothers that were separated at birth, and I was raised, you know, in a nice family by a nice family in Brooklyn, and Charlie was raised in Africa in the jungle by a band of apes, you know. So I mean, they were all laughing because they had no idea I was going to say that, and he loved it, you know. He loved it. They told me that it was so funny, you know, that's why they wanted to put it in there. So, as far as I know, it's in there.
That's good. That's good. I gotta check that out. And if it is, I'm gonna pick it up.
Yeah.
With the Alive 3 album, I know that there's a lot of talk about it, and Gene keeps saying it will come, but you know, I mean, no specific dates or years or anything like that.
You know, I have to just repeat what Gene said. I mean, it'll come when the time is right, when it seems right to do it. We'll know, and that's when it'll happen.
Okay. Since you didn't play the Garden on the Crazy Nights tour, do you? I know that you love the Meadowlands. Do you kind of consider the Meadowlands like your new home?
Meadowlands, you know, I love going to the Meadowlands to see bands and playing there because the sound is really good there. You know, you just really feel good being there. The Garden, there's nothing like the Garden, you know, playing there because it's like Madison Square Garden. You know, that's the place. But you know, it doesn't really matter that much to me because it doesn't sound as good in the Garden. I don't know if we'll do it or not. I don't know.
You're not sure if you're going to be playing the Garden?
No.
Okay.
No, at this point, I don't really know any dates yet.
Okay. What country would you like to play where you haven't really been before? Afghanistan.
No, Ceylon. No, I don't know. Fuck, I can't even think. Where would I want to play? I know where I would want to play. The Soviet Union. I think that's where everybody would probably want to play right now.
Kind of like do like a Monsters of Rock thing, kind of like the Bon Jovi deal with Motley Crue, or just yourselves, just Kiss.
I would much rather do a tour there, even if it's only, let's say 2 weeks, and you do 8 shows or something like that in the 2 weeks, or 5 shows, a mini tour.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to do that, even if it was one show, even if it was a festival. That would be great.
So if anybody basically offered you, you'd more than less jump at it, huh?
I would think so, yeah. I mean, I certainly would want to do it, yeah.
All right, so Russia would be your choice?
Yeah.
Okay, all we got to do is get some Russian people over here and asking you to go over there and play.
There you go.
How did it feel playing Monsters of Rock with Iron Maiden, and not really opening for Iron Maiden, but playing under them when back during the Unmasked tour, Maiden opened for you?
Well, it was real difficult playing under them because they were real sweaty and they stunk. And, it's hard to play your drums when somebody's sitting on top
of you.
Yeah, it's real difficult. Don't print that, okay?
I know.
No, I didn't look at it like that, and I don't think the rest of the band looked at it like that at all. Because first of all, we alternate. Iron Maiden was the headliner, and that was cool. Nobody had any problem with that. They earned it. Why not? And with with us and David, we alternated on headlining on a couple of the shows. So it's like one time it was David Lee Roth, Kiss, and Iron Maiden. Another time it was Kiss, David Lee Roth, and Iron Maiden.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I don't know if I said the same thing twice, but
I don't think so. I'll listen to the tape later on.
All right. No, and the way I look at it, and I've talked about this, in interviews before. You go out there to kick ass, and what does it matter? What does it matter what order you're in? If you're doing it, the people are going to respond to you, and that's all that counts. And I've seen it. If you want to, compare it to anything else. Compare it to any band that you've gone to see where they've had 1 or 2 opening acts for them, and by the time the headliner comes on, you're saying, Jesus, the fucking opening act blew these guys away. So you remember the opening act, even though they came on 2 bands before.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it happen many times in concerts.
I've just seen it a little while ago. There's a band. Well, you've heard of King's X.
Of course.
Okay. I like them too, and I went to go. In fact, I went to the Chance to shoot King's X.
I was supposed to go that night. I didn't go. I know it was a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a band called Galactic Cowboy opened for them.
Right.
And when I heard the name, I was like, what the hell is this? And the guys came out, and they started playing this really weird music, and I was like, what is this? And then they started thrashing out, and I'm like, this ain't bad. And then they stopped and started going real melodic. Then they started thrashing out. I was like, these guys are great. And the harmonies were perfect. It really sounded like you were listening to an album.
Huh.
And I couldn't believe it. And I like King's X, but this band Galactic Cowboy, they're from Houston, because I talked with them after, and they blew me away.
Really?
I couldn't believe it. It sounded like a cross between Metallica and Voivod.
Right.
It sounded like a cross between something melodic, like not really Poison or something like that, but like rock and roll. And then all of a sudden it started getting back into the thrash, and then very melodic, and it was just really different. And it was great.
Yeah, but they didn't blow King's X away. I don't believe that.
To tell you, I was more impressed with Galactic Cowboy than I was with King's X, even though I do like King's X a lot.
Well, I have to check them out because I'm not familiar with them at all. But I've certainly become an instant King's X fan. I think they're unbelievable.
I know these guys are
very
good.
Different, And if Galactic Cowboy is doing something along those lines, or even more outrageous than that, I'd definitely like to check them out.
Yeah, they were very good. And King's X was great also.
Yeah, I'll give you another example. Here's even a better example, okay? Probably don't print this.
Okay.
But on the Monsters of Rock tour in the States with Van Halen, Metallica was like 4th down on the bill.
And they blew everyone away.
Nobody would argue in the least that Metallica stole that show.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, so that's my point.
Yep.
It doesn't matter that where they were on the thing. They fucking kicked ass, and everybody there, thought Metallica stole the show. I mean, there's no way that they didn't. So that by the time Van Halen came on, and I love Van Halen, it was an anticlimax to that. What you didn't have is that you didn't have the energy and the excitement
that Metallica had,
and the Metallica fans had.
Yeah.
You could see when you watch that, you say, boy, this is something new. This is happening today. And then you watch another band that's established, and you're still saying, boy, they're great, but it's different. You say, okay, I'm watching a band that's been around for a while. Please don't print that, okay? Because I don't want them to ever see that.
Yeah, and get back to you or whatever.
Huh?
And it would somehow, in some way, get back to you.
Well, yeah, and it's not that important that I want to get grief for it, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's all. And plus, I like the Van Halen guys, so I doubt very much if they'd ever see this, but you never know.
With the Elder, I mean, you were involved in that whole thing, and I read or heard somewhere that you were basically telling Paul and Gene that hey, I don't really think that this is too cool. I mean,
I did at that point, yeah.
Yeah, but they were like, well, we've been in the band a lot longer, let's do it this way. And I think that The Elder is one of Kiss's best albums musically.
Thank you.
And, the critics even liked it. The fans were the ones who kind of turned it down, even though that the fans now want to hear stuff live.
Right.
Off of The Elder.
Well, I guess, because now it's not painful anymore, and it's like looking back in Kiss's past, so anything that has to do with the band is okay. Then it was a sore spot. My opinion on that is that it just came out at the wrong time. It was the wrong time to do that album, because you got to figure, Kiss, whatever position Kiss was in the minds of the fans, when Peter left, the fans started wondering what's going to happen to the band. They're figuring it's over. And then they get a new drummer, and then all of a sudden we do a rock opera.
Yeah.
So I think it probably scared a lot of fans away, thinking, oh my God, that's it, they're dead, it's over. I mean, look what happened to them now, So what happened is that album didn't get a fair shot.
No.
Nobody really wanted to listen to it for what it was, because everybody was too emotionally upset about the fact that we weren't doing another Destroyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
or Rock and Roll Over.
Or rock, yeah. I mean, just something harder, and so that album just came out at the wrong time. I do agree. I think it's a great album. There's a lot of good stuff on it. Now, if you want to look at the positive side of that whole thing, Creatures of the Night probably wouldn't have been possible
if you didn't do The Elder.
Yeah, because learning from that experience
made you even more
made
hungrier?
us more angry and more, that's why when we came back out with Creatures, that album says, you think we're dead? Well, fuck you.
Yeah.
Listen to this,
Yeah.
And we couldn't have done that if we hadn't done The Elder first. So everything kind of works out for the best, after all.
When you did the Creatures tour, I mean, what was it? I was 18 at the time. And I was really waiting for you guys. I mean, I think the closest that you came around this area was basically Rochester, New York, and also Worcester, Massachusetts. And I was waiting for you guys to get around here, and then you stopped the tour. And I couldn't believe it, because we kept hearing that you were supposed to play the Garden sometime around March or April or whatever. And then all of a sudden I think you went out to San Francisco, and I think on April 3rd in San Francisco, I think was the last show.
Yeah, which tour was this?
Creatures.
Okay, boy, I don't even remember that far back. I don't. I have no idea why, if it was cut short and why we did it at this point.
Well, getting back to The Elder, I think, to tell you the truth, I think that if you ever did anything off The Elder live, besides from the Fridays TV show, and I think that's the only thing that's
it is
off The Elder that's live.
Yeah.
I think The Oath would be an outrageous opening song. Ladies and gentlemen, you're one of the best. You got the best of hottest band or Kiss, and then break right into The Oath.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I have to be honest with you. Gene and Paul would probably agree on this too. For really, really, loyal fans that are really into the band and know all the music, that may be great for you guys, but I don't know if kids that have just come on, let's say the last year or so, that maybe just liked X and Sex and now like Hide Your Heart, and don't really know all the stuff that we've done, I don't know if it's going to make that much of an impression on them.
Oh, because maybe if they hear something like that, maybe they might say, wow, what's this thing from?
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true, but you're always taking a risk, especially if you're going to open with it, because if you're not opening with something that's instantly recognizable, you know, I mean, that's what you want. Well, actually, that's what we want to do. A lot of bands don't do that. They just open with whatever they feel like opening with. You know, but you know how Kiss is, and we've always wanted to come out with a bang.
Yeah, I never really thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I never really did.
Some bands just come out, you know, they'll open with a song, you know, that you know the song, but it's not a particularly important song. And then little by little, you know, the show goes on, and then you hear the ones that you're waiting to hear. But we're not the kind of band that's just going to do that. We want to come out doing a song. That's why Destroyer. That's why Detroit has been, you know, the first song for so many years.
First song, and then it got switched to the last song, and you know, at least.
Well, we had to do that because it's just, you know, it was impossible to keep doing it all the time. You know, even if you change the whole show after that song, just being in the audience and hearing I keep saying Destroyer. I don't know why I'm saying it. I put it in my head. Hold on.
Okay.
I have a call. Hello.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go soon anyway. This is like an hour and 40, you know.
Okay.
An hour and 15 minutes so far.
All right.
I've talked enough. But what I was saying.
Interview is almost over.
Okay, it's like I know what I was saying. Even if you do a complete different show after it, to open with that same song again, you're going to lose something right there because the kids are going to go, oh no, here we go. It's like the same thing again. You know, and we've done that too long, and it's unavoidable in a lot of ways because when you have 24 albums, you know, and so many classic songs, it's hard to drop things.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know what to drop. You drop one thing because you think it's getting tired, and then when it's not there, people say, why don't you do it anymore?
The song list, we had a poll, like with all of our Kiss Classic readers, about song listings that they would like to hear. Did that give you any ideas about what songs you might possibly want to move into the song list, what songs you might want to take out?
I didn't see it. I knew that it was sent out, though. I didn't actually see it, and I'm sure that has a lot to do with it.
All right, that's nice to know. That, you know, that's cool to know.
Yeah, no, that was the reason for it, you know.
Do you find it more harder to keep yourself in public now, like as everybody knows who you are and what you look like, as like opposed to when you had the makeup on and people had to guess, is that Eric Carr or is that him or not?
Yeah, you know, it's still. I'm not as widely known, let's say, as Gene or Paul, or even Gene, you know, more I think than even Paul in more wider circles. I mean, like, you know, from regular TV, daytime TV, you know, and stuff like that. But depending on where I go, I mean, I get recognized all the time, and sometimes, you know, I'll really get bugged by a lot of people, and sometimes, you know, maybe nobody will bother me. But it happens. I know it happens to Paul. I know it happens to Gene too. It depends on where you go. If I go to Lemoore in Brooklyn, you know, of course, then I'm asking for it, you know.
Yeah.
But if I go to you know, Carnegie Hall, chances are less. Although even the doorman in my own building, you know, I get out of a cab one day after 2 days of being here, and he goes, "Hey, Eric Carr of Kiss," and I'm going, "Oh no, you know, I don't want anybody to know where I live." And here's the doorman.
Yeah, starting to yell it out or whatever.
You know, so it's like, you never, at this point, you never know where people are going to recognize you. I've been in the band so long, people, you know, even if they're older now, even if they're, you know, 30 years old now, 7 years ago they were 23. That was certainly, you know, young enough to be a fan, to have been into the band, and they would know me, even if they're not necessarily fans anymore. So, but it's great, you know. It's part of the whole thing about being in a band.
Yeah, and you got to basically, you know, like expect it.
It doesn't bother me at all. I mean, I love it. You know, I thrive on it. I would rather people, you know, notice me than totally not notice me.
Yeah.
You know, at least when people notice you, it may be a little annoying if they're bugging you or if there's too many, but at least you know that what you've been doing for the last 10 years has made some impressions on people.
What bands do you listen to? You know, like now.
I listen to King's X. I listen to Metallica. I listen to Anthrax. I listen to Van Halen. Sometimes the Police. I listen to classical music. I listen to Zeppelin. I listen to a lot of different things.
Basically everything, you know, all kinds of music.
Stuff. A lot of different stuff. You know, depending on, I mean, I'll just whatever mood I'm in, I'll just fish through my tapes and I'll see something, you know, that just I haven't heard in a long time, and I'll just put it on, and it could be anything, you know.
Okay, 2 more questions. Whatever happened to your costumes and stuff like that? Are they like in the Kiss warehouse, or do you have them?
No, they're all in the warehouse. You know, whatever's left of all that stuff is still there.
Okay, because we were hearing some stuff that there's going to be an auction, or that something of that nature, that the Kiss costumes and possibly some of the stage props and things like that were going to be auctioned off or sold.
There was supposed to be an auction last year sometime, and that got blown off. I don't know if that's what you heard about, but if there is going to be something now, I don't know about it.
Okay.
I haven't heard about it.
All right, and basically the last question is, do you have any future plans besides like the drum video that you're trying, because I know that you're so, you know, extremely busy.
Yeah.
I mean, with the album and going to shows and doing, you know, all the other things that you're doing. With the drum video and Rockeyez, are you going to start anything new, like possibly producing or?
Well, I've always wanted to do that. It's just that I don't have access to a lot of tapes, you know, as many as I'd like to. There was a brief period of time when I first started talking about in interviews that I wanted to produce that, you know, I did start getting a lot of tapes. But it's real hard. I mean, I feel bad for a lot of bands, you know, and I feel bad for me because it really is hard to find something that's really special. And, you know, I was working with Harry Carey, the all-female thrash band, which I don't want you to print that. You know, I don't want to give them any more publicity.
Okay.
Because they kind of fucked me pretty bad anyway.
All right, no problem with that.
But, you know, I was working with them. But yeah, I mean, I want to produce. You know, that's one of the things that I would like to try my hand at, even if it's just one track on somebody's album, or even if it's just a demo for a local band. You know, I don't mind. I just want to try. I don't mind starting small.
So what? So basically, if I'm going to print that, should I basically put down for bands or whatever?
Say that I did work with a couple of, you know, of local things, you know, bands that I found interesting, and I worked with them, but it just didn't seem right, you know, so I stopped working with them.
No, I was going to say, like, possibly if bands want to get in touch with you, then maybe...
that you can do, of course, yes.
Okay, and where should they send it to?
You know, the Kiss office, you know the address.
Uh-huh.
You know it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
1414.
Just with my name. Yeah,
All right.
I would appreciate it, because, you know, as I said, I don't get, you know, amounts of tapes. I mean, it's very seldom that I get tapes now, but for a while I was getting, you know, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 a week, which to me is a lot, you know, and I was really, really hoping that I would find something that I could hear the potential there and see it, you know, in a photo, and say, okay, they need some work, but, you know, there's enough here that I think I can make something happen with them. And it's real hard to see that, you know. It really is hard. It's unfortunate because everybody's out there trying, but, you know.
It's been a real pleasure talking with you.
It's okay. You guys keep up the good work, you know.
Thanks a lot. You know, we're going to try.
Okay.
Have a good Thanksgiving, and, you know, have a Merry Christmas, and tell Paul, Bruce, and Gene, you know, what's up, and, you know, that the album's great and everything like that. You know, I just can't wait to see you on tour.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot.
All right, Eric.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.